It's not because I have coronavirus. Okay. So yes. Now, with regards to your work delegation plan, as I said, work delegation plan is one of your appendix item for your assignment 3. And with regards to work delegation, how it looks like is it can look something like this. The type of columns that you may have may differ. You are free to modify that as long as it meets the complete essence, which is which are the most important things that should be there in a work delegation plan. These ones, for example, estimated milestones. Now, to make your work delegation plan easy, you can have your work delegation plan, which is aligned with your Gantt chart. You remember in your Gantt chart, you had milestones and key performance indicator. So basically, the work delegation plan is to tell someone officially, which is in a written format, that if these are the key performance indicators which we need to do to meet a milestone, who's going to do those key performance indicators? Okay, that is what a work delegation plan is basically. So for instance, this is the example which I have taken out of my grant. So you see your work delegation plan will be part of the document Seed Journey 2019. And now this work delegation plan which I had developed was in association with my picky eating project for which I had applied for funding. All right, so that's why it is not, I haven't made a new one for your project because I already had one. Okay, and which was relatively simple. So over here, for you, your estimated milestone could align with your Gantt chart, which is, for example, identification of topic, need assessment, intervention planning. That could be your estimated milestones. Your tentative timelines could be the ones which you have on your Gantt chart, which is say week 1 to week 2 will be for topic identification, week 2 to week 4 will be for need assessment. So those things can be the same as your Gantt chart. So your tentative timeline can be similar to your Gantt chart. Delegation over here, this is what is very important. All right. So for example, within your estimated milestone, which is say need assessment, if you had over your need assessment, you have literature review search on say picky eating, on say weight status, and third one could be dietary patterns. Okay, so then you could have delegation for, like, you can have say your prefix and things like that. You can say for picky eating thing, it is RJ. For say weight status, it is CK. And for something else, dietary patterns, it is NN. All right, so you can have these tiny things like you have a 1 over here and then you make it into a prefix or a suffix, and then you add, say if you have RJ over here, you can have 1 over here as well as your prefix suffix thingy. All right, so that's how you can make your work delegation plan compact, concise, in one document. Thank goodness this is in one document because this was submitted for a grant, so it has to be very professional looking. All right, so yes, this is how you can make a work delegation plan. You need to have your estimated milestones which can align with your Gantt chart, tentative timelines aligning with your Gantt chart. Delegation is who did what in your project. Okay, so these 3 columns are mandatory. This one is also mandatory, which is alignment with Faculty of Health research directions. Now see over here, I have done Faculty of Health research directions, but what I realized is what would be very useful for you, especially when you go out for your placements. And you know how I said that Rachel will be talking more about something which is called as portfolios, which you need to make at the end of your placement. So after you finish all of your placements, before you have your faculty interview, before that you need to make something called as a portfolio. And in the portfolio, you need to have evidence that you have met all of the DAA National Competency Standards, NCS. And you know how I said there are 4 domains, domain 1, 2, 3, 4, communication and professionalism and stuff like that. Okay. So what I thought was, try aligning your milestones with your DAA national competency standards. Okay, so for example, say divide work responsibility sort of a thing which you did, or having say a communication form signed with your mentor, and say having timely communication, punctuality and all of that. Now that falls very well with domain 1, which is about professionalism and national competency standards. Okay, so that is what you will write, that domain 1, 1.4.1, and then whatever that is. Okay, and if you don't want to keep repeating those long sentences in your domains, you can just write the numbers. You can say domain 1, you can say 1.4.1, 1.4.2, stuff like that. And guys, you know when this document will be most useful for you? When you actually design your portfolio and when you feel you are lacking evidence to show where you did what, that is when this document will be handy. Because whatever you're doing as part of this coursework can add to your evidence in your portfolio. And if you have this already mapped out, your life becomes very, very simple when you reach the stage of actually developing your portfolio. So now you do not need to have this column. So how I would encourage you to do this is, make this your column 1, which is estimated milestone. Make this 1. Then have this, how milestones are aligned with your DA national competency standards 2. Then have your tentative timeline 3. And then have your delegation, because delegation is always at the end. Okay, so this is how I would make my work delegation plan for the assignment if I were you. Estimated milestones, alignment with national competency standards, tentative timeline, and delegation. Okay, and just to again show you what document I'm talking about, that national competency standard, I'll just share that with you once again. So especially for international students who may not be well aware of the document. So guys, this is the national competency standards for dietitians in Australia. So if you just Google this, you will get this document for free on Google, just the normal Google. And these are your domain 1, 2, 3, 4. And I believe Jane must have gone in much more detail on this. So I don't need to go through that. Okay, but this is what I would do. I would say my first milestone, and in which I have my KPIs. They align with 1.1.2, 1.1.14, whatever it is. Okay, so however you want, you do not need to align your work delegation plan with all of these domains. It is impossible that you do everything in one single project. Okay, so choose the most relevant thing for your alignment purpose. Choose things where you are very, very sure and confident that this aligns with this, so that it becomes a evidence for you in real life when you are actually working on your portfolio. So this is how you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, which is a terrible saying. Why would you kill birds? Sorry, I'm a vegetarian. I can't think of killing anything. Okay, but yeah, basically, yes. So you are meeting 2 goals. All right, so you are helping yourself build up your portfolio in the future, which is after 1 year or 1.5 years if you're on winter term placement, and you are doing your assignment work as well. Okay, guys, so this is what a work delegation plan looks. All right, so just one more time, this is how you need to make a work delegation plan. Remember the thumb rule. All of your appendix should be short, concise document. They should be no more than 1 page each. So 1 page work delegation, 1 page Gantt chart, 1 page that logic model thing. All right, so they can't be more than that because these are summary documents. You can't have summary documents for 14 pages. So this was part of your lecture, which I should have done. I forgot, but I did it anyways. Okay, so it's all good. All right, it's a happy ending. Now let's go back to your slides. So I have a couple of tutorial slides, which I have clubbed with your lecture slides itself. All right, so now your slide number 28 is what I'm talking about. All right, so now over here, your questionnaire, this is very important. Okay, now guys, basically in this tutorial, I'm going to cover two important things. The first one is, how are you going to design your questionnaire? This is very important because if you design the questionnaire the way I tell you to, you will be able to do statistical analysis on this questionnaire. If you don't design the questionnaire the way I tell you to, you will be having a very tough time doing your statistical analysis. Okay. Now, why do I say this is because the way I teach you to design your questionnaire, I have my stats already planned for it. If you're not good with stats, if you're not confident with stats, please do not be adventurous and design questionnaires which you then cannot analyze. All right, because then students cry when they can't do that. And because this is not a research unit, I can only help you so much if you have designed your questionnaire the way you wanted to. Okay, so if this is your first time, if questionnaire designing is your first time, if extracting data from questionnaire for analytical purpose is your first time, if statistics is very new to you, please follow my instructions for questionnaire designing. All right? Because this is a simulated setting, as I said, you're doing all of this in a simulated environment. So that's why you have to follow certain instructions. Once you get your skills right, then you can apply the skills in real life setting. Right now, our purpose is let's learn how to do things, all right, the skills, and then you can apply this in real life once you know the skills. Okay, so this is a very important instruction which I wanted to give you before going any further. All right, the second thing and the third thing which I'm going to cover, which are very, very easy and very straightforward, is how to design a participant information sheet and how to design a consent form. These are very quick things. We'll talk about them later. All right. Now I'll show you how your questionnaire should look like. Okay, how do you design your questionnaire? So this is very important. If you're new to it, please take notes. Hang on, I'm just opening the document. All right, so I'll share this document. That's very important. Okay, so I believe now that I'm sharing this document. So you should be able to see something like pre-post intervention evaluation questionnaire. All right. Now guys, this is the title which I have given just so that you understand. You don't need to have this title. Okay. Guys, I had to do an ID number in real life because this was a de-identified questionnaire. I could not record name and things like that. Because you all are developing an online questionnaire and now looking at the situation of things, I would strongly recommend you design a pre-post online questionnaire. Then of course it is up to you as a class. How do you go about it? When you design a pre-post online questionnaire, one of the advantage is going to be that you can ask the person to tell their name, student ID on the pre-questionnaire, and you can tell the person to tell their name and student ID on the post questionnaire. This is how you match the person's pre and post questionnaire. All right. So that is very important. You need to match the right participants, pre and post questionnaire. Okay. Now guys, as I said, please understand your classmates are your participants. So they are actually dietitians like you. They are your peers. You teaching them about diabetes or you teaching them about obesity or picky eating is not new to them. They are well aware about these sciences. And if they were to answer these questionnaires in real life, their pre and post questionnaire would nearly be the same because they already have a lot of knowledge about this. Okay. But a simulated setting is very different from real life. In a simulated setting, these dietitian peers of yours, these student dietitian peers of yours, they are your target audience, meaning they are children 7 to 12 years of age or they are pregnant mothers who have not much idea about how mental health is related to depression, or else they are parents who have no idea about sensory feeding difficulties. All right. So these are real life people in a simulated setting. So you need to tell them this before you start your intervention, that who are they? Okay. Guys, which is the audience, which is the target audience, the classmate, you need to complete this questionnaire keeping in mind that you are the target audience, meaning you are either a 7-year-old child, or else you are a pregnant mother who has no information about nutrition and mental health, or very little information, or else you are a parent who has no idea about sensory feeding difficulties. You just know your child is going through a very tough time. That's it. Okay. So what do I mean by this? What I mean is, when you answer your classmates' questionnaire, please have wrong answers in your pre-questionnaire. Help them out. This is a simulated setting. All right. You're here to learn skills at this stage. Okay. So give incorrect answers in your pre-questionnaire. Okay. So even if you know the answer, student dietitians, you're not student dietitians at that stage, don't act like smarty pants. Okay. Just give wrong answers beforehand in your pre-questionnaire, pre-intervention stage. When they do their intervention, when they teach you things, and when they give you the post-questionnaire, be it online or however you guys decide to do it, that time give them correct answers. Okay. The more difference you have, more wrong answers, more correct answer, this is what is going to give a statistically significant result. So all of you have to help each other out. No acting smarty pants. Okay. Because your names are there in the questionnaire. If you act like a smarty pant, then they act like a smarty pant in your intervention. Okay. So don't do that. You are here to learn the skills. All right. You learn the skills right. Okay. So right now, design correct questionnaires, appropriate questionnaires, learn how to do the right statistical analysis, whether things are significant or not in real life. Okay. If you were on placement or if you were working in your jobs, that is not in your control. But right now, I want to make things easy for you. Take baby steps. That's why I am requesting, give wrong answers beforehand and then give right answers in your post questionnaires. All right. And very important, students who are giving the presentation, at the end, if you do find such smarty pants for which you're not having significant findings, feel free to change the data. Okay. Right now, you just want to learn these steps. Research is new for you. Statistics is new for you. In questionnaire designing is new for you. Okay. So just learn the steps. So if you have a lot of your participants who have answered correctly in your pre-questionnaire, feel free to change that data so that you have significant finding pre and post. It will just make it easier for you to justify your results in your mock manuscript, to discuss your results in your mock manuscript. Okay, because you're learning things for the very first time. So we are taking the most easiest steps. Things become complicated in real life, but so will learning. But right now, let's learn and get the fundamental right. All right. Okay. So now, over here, you write your topic statement. Okay, so I have just written something else because I think this question, I have just mock designed this questionnaire. So your topic is going to be on nutrition education thing, but please do not write the topic the way you write it for me for checking purposes. Okay. For example, do not call children fat, or do not call overweight and obese pregnant mothers and things like that. No, it is offensive. All right. So when I say assignment 2 title is the same, meaning for you to understand that whatever you're doing in your assignment 2, that is very closely related to your assignment 3, which is your methods and your results section. Your methods and your results section essentially are coming out of your assignment 2. Okay. But the title which you give on your PowerPoint slide for your assignment 2, the title which you give for your questionnaire, which is what your participants are going to see, you need to have a very respectable title. You can't have things such as overweight and obese woman or fatty children. I mean, you would not have fatty children either ways, but you get my point, right? You don't have such things. Therefore, you use something which is very respectful. Things, something like which I have written. Understanding diabetes, knowledge of adults recently diagnosed with diabetes. This is what I want to do, and that's why I'm asking you to complete this questionnaire. All right. So understanding children's awareness about fruit and vegetable intake and their knowledge about Australian guides to healthy eating. This is from the example which I gave you in the lecture. Okay. So that is what I'm saying. All right. So your title should be not offensive to your participant audience. That's the first rule. Then target group. So target group is just for the purpose of this assignment, simulated assignment, so that you remind your audience who they are and how they should be filling this questionnaire. Okay, so this is adults recently diagnosed with diabetes. Yours will be different. You can copy paste this. All right, paraphrasing would be better because then you learn something. Okay, so basically this is roughly which is there in all questionnaires. All right. So you can have this as part of your questionnaire. This is just to thank them to complete their questionnaire, that no answer is right or wrong. You encourage them to complete all questions to the best of their ability or knowledge. And I have written they shouldn't be writing their names and things anywhere because it was a de-identified questionnaire. But your last thing can change. All right. So how do you want to frame your last thing is up to you. All right, and then the questionnaire will take so and so much amount of time. You can say things such as that maybe they will be completing the same questionnaire even after the intervention. So have a bit of a blob of this sense, which is not rocket science beforehand. Then you come to your actual questionnaire. And remember, I need a Word document for your pre and post questionnaire, very important. Okay, guys, now section 1 is your socio-demographic data. And this section will be there in your pre-intervention questionnaire only. Okay, not in your post-intervention questionnaire. Sorry, I'm spelling things out because you know how expressive I am, right, in the classroom. And this is such a delicate and important topic that I want to like get through your screen. I'm not like a weird zombie ghost. Okay, but if I could, I would get through your laptops and I would sit beside you and I would be explaining it to you. This is the feel which I want you to have so that you get it right. Okay, so that's why so much of trying to get all of my emotions in an online medium. All right, I don't know how I'll be if I was an online instructor, but you can let me know, so then I can, that would give me confidence as to what to change and how to improve and what I should continue doing. All right, so then I can become a better teacher. Okay, so if you like something, let me know. If you don't like something, let me know. Of course, YouTube comments I have disabled because there are people write any crap. You can just tell me, like, you know, in an email or interface feedback and stuff like that. Okay, guys, coming back to the point, socio-demographic data. So as I said, that is only part of your pre-intervention questionnaire. And see, the socio-demographic data which I have recorded is in the context of these people are adults, they have type 1 diabetes, and they are living in Wollondally, and this is the data which I want. Okay, but you may have different other kind of socio-demographic data depending upon who your participant audience is. Okay, so again, there is no hard and fast rule of these are the only questions you can have. There is nothing like that. Okay, and again, when you have your assignment to consultation times, you can definitely, if you have doubts in your questionnaire, you can come with those doubts which are part of your questionnaire and we can go through those. All right. Remember, you will also be having consultation time for your assignment 3, similar to what we are doing right now, where lecture and tude, everything is converted to a consultation time. This will be done for an assignment 3 as well. That is when you worry about logic modeling drafts and Gantt chart drafts and whatever else, work delegation drafts. Don't think about all that right now. Right now for assignment 2, You don't need logic models. You don't need Gantt charts. You don't need work delegation plans, meaning to come ready with doubts in this consultation time. In this consultation time, you should be absolutely sure about what are you going to deliver as part of your intervention, how your pre-post questionnaires are going to be looking, what are the resources you're developing, like a recipe booklet and stuff like that. Okay, so these are the three key things which you should be having good idea about before you come to your assignment 2 consultation. Okay, because this is what is part of assignment 2. All right. So I have asked things such as which year were you born, date of birth, height, weight, where were you born. Okay, so guys, this I have just taken this data which I have taken is from the from my PhD questionnaire. That's why you have this India. As I said, please modify this as per what is appropriate for you. How many years have you lived in Australia? Your religious background, education, how many people are living in your household, then what is your main activity, like full-time work, stuff like that, what is your income bracket, then do you have children, because this, as I said, this is taken from my PhD study. My PhD study was examining child feeding practices of Indian mothers in India and Australia, so all of this thing was important for me. So do you have children 1 to 5 years of age? How many children you have? When was your youngest child born? Because that was the child who was participating in the study. Where was your child born? Your child gender and your child height and weight. Okay, so then I can calculate BMI Z scores in the future. So guys, now this entire section will be modified according to what is relevant and appropriate for your target audience. One thing very important that I would recommend, if it is relevant for your target audience, do you see this classification which I have for level of education, and then for activities like part-time, full-time work, and then this income brackets? I have taken this from the Australian census data, which is the National Health Survey Australian census data. I have used that document to make my divisions for income, divisions for education, divisions for religion, divisions for occupation. All of that I have taken from the national census data. Okay, meaning I haven't just arbitrarily went and said, okay, I'll just put like 6 things such as high school, school degree, stuff like that. No, I took the national census data in designing this. All right, so that is very important for you to understand, is that you base your divisions or your classifications or your subgroups based on some evidence. So if you are working with, say, just hypothetically speaking, a population in New Zealand, use the New Zealand census data. If you're working with Pacific Islander population, and ideally, if Tongan is your population, if you have something like this available for Tonga, take it. If you don't have something like this available from Tonga, then use something which is available more commonly, like Fiji. Fiji is much more advanced in research compared to Tonga. All right. So I hope you get my point. Okay. And then, guys, for analytical purposes, you will have to combine these things. Okay. So you don't have to report all of these 6 as your, say, table. So how do you do all of that? I'll talk about this when we talk about your assignment 3, which is where you do your data analysis. Okay, so right now I don't want to confuse you, but I would strongly recommend that have scholarly references for the categories which you are coming up with for your section 1 socio-demographic data. Okay, so do have a scholarly reference. My scholarly reference was the Australian census. All right, so that's about that. And then yeah, moving further. Okay, so I was just thinking, do I have anything else to cover in that section? But I don't think so. I think I've covered it all right. So that is done. So now moving forward, now you have section 2. Now guys, this is very, very important. Okay. Your section 2 and your section 3 are the sections that will be using statistical analysis. Okay. The type of statistical analysis which you are going to be doing in section 2 and section 3 is going to be paired t-test. Okay. Paired t-test. Paired meaning you are asking one person to repeat something twice. So pre-intervention, post-intervention, paired. Okay. So paired sample t-test is what you're doing for section 2 and section 3. All right. That is why I want you to design section 2 and 3 in a specific manner. If you are super confident with your statistical skills, go ahead and design however you want to, as long as you know how to do your stats. Okay. If you don't know how to do your stats, follow my advice to the T, because you're learning it for the very first time. You are doing an entire program planning cycle, guys. In this 13 weeks of coursework, you have learned so much and you are learning so much. So if you're doing this for the first time, make it simple. Okay, so now your section 2 is going to be true and false sort of a section. You will be having only one correct answer within a lot of incorrect answers. Okay, now if you look at the actual example which I have given you, for some of the questions you can have actually more than one correct answer, but don't design this. This is just a very mock example which I'm giving you. When you design your questionnaire, for this question 1, you can only have one correct answer. Everything else should be wrong. Okay. So for example, which of this is true? All people with diabetes will die. I mean, eventually everybody will die, but is it because that you have diabetes, you're going to die? No. You may have diabetes and you may be bungee jumping and the rope snapped and you died. Okay, so no, false. All right. All people with diabetes who are diagnosed with diabetes, they don't die because of diabetes. Diabetes is contagious? No, coronavirus is. Dumb. But in real life, when you design questionnaire as a dietitian, your options are not ridiculously dumb. See, I'm just taking very small baby steps. As I said, a lot of you, and I have seen this across all years, it is not just you. Across the 3 years that I'm teaching this subject now, many of them are doing this for the very first time. So I just try to keep it very simple. So once they understand the fundamentals, once you have, your fundamental right, then you can have complicated designs on it, meaning you can make your learning complicated and complex. But let's get the fundamentals right. So basically, yes, in this question 1, I just have one correct answer, which is a person with diabetes can be harmed if the diabetes is not controlled. Yes, you can have very adverse health implications which are harmful for your health and your well-being and your quality of life. So that is the only correct answer. So this is what you have to do for each of your question that you design in section 2, which is only one correct answer in each question that you have. How many questions can you have as part of your correct and wrong for your section 2? I have 7 questions. Generally, to be respectful and to be mindful of your class, that they are completing so many questionnaires of so many of you guys. You have 10 topics, so they are going to complete 10 questionnaires. I would strongly encourage, don't have more than 10 questions in this section 2. Okay, so please keep it to around 7 to 10 is the max you should go, not more than 10. I would make this a rule, not more than 10, because filling so many questionnaires for all of you pre and post is challenging within the short time frame which you have with multiple other assignments and units. Okay, so 7 to 10 is the ideal number, no more than 10. Okay, then what I want you to do, this is what will help you during data analysis stage, which is, I just want you to record. If you have, see, I have 7 questions, right? So my denominator is 7. Just record this and keep it for your record's sake. Okay, we will talk about this more when we are talking about data analysis. We are going to be having such a lecture for data analysis as well, so don't worry about it. All right, but from the total number of questions which you have, which is you have 7 questions over here, how many are right? So as I said, pre-intervention, classmates, you are children 7 to 12 years of age, please have as many incorrect answers as possible. Okay, just have 1 or 2 correct answers. So if you have say 2 out of 7 correct answers, but they teach you something and then they tell you to complete the same section 2 again post intervention, that is when you can have more number of correct answers, 6 out of 7 or 7 out of 7, stuff like that. Okay, so just record this and keep this number with you. All right, so this is very, very simple. It is not rocket science, so that's why I'm leaving it over here. So section 2 is something which will be part of your pre-intervention and post-intervention. You can have only 1 correct answer per question. Everything else should be wrong. Therefore, take 1 answer per question. Okay. I hope I made this very, very simple. It is not really very difficult, right? So I hope this is super simple for you. Okay. Now section 3. Section 3, you're going to design it as a Likert scale. What is a Likert scale? Something like this is called as a Likert scale. Okay. Meaning agree to disagree, or else never to always. All right. So something like this is called as a Likert scale. I would strongly encourage you, because you're doing this for the first time. For those who are doing it for the first time, don't have more than 5-point Likert scale, just so that it makes your life easier. Okay. Again, your participants, which is classmates, you can only have 1 correct answer per row. So, okay, circle 1 number only for each row, therefore the instruction. All right, so you can have only 1 correct answer for the row. All right, so now section 2 is based more upon knowledge based things, and section 3 is based more upon awareness based things. So section 2, as I said, try thinking of questions which are more knowledge related according to your topic. And section 3, try to think this in terms of awareness related, that, oh, now I have learned carbohydrate counting. So I know that 1 portion of say carbs is 15 grams of carbohydrate actually, which looks like say 2 slices of bread. Like, you know, this is the kind of awareness they have now. All right. So now they are aware of something. All right. So it can be something like that. Some of these students previously in previous years, they have had myths as part of their say intervention. So I have taken the example of diabetes myths, but generally section 3 is more to do with awareness of something. You teach them something and then they learn a new skill, which is carbohydrate counting, or they are just more aware about something. Some of your topics are very hardcore knowledge related, and you can have 2 things which are knowledge related. For example, mental health and depression. Lay people don't really understand this a lot, and you'll be teaching a lot about dietary patterns and nutrients which are related to mental health. So you can have 2 sections on this. Okay, so it all depends. All right, so basically, general format is knowledge and awareness, but that is not a hard and fast format. You're free to do this as per you deem appropriate, as long as it is mathematically correct. Meaning, as I told you, don't screw this up, which is 1 correct answer per option and all of that. Don't mess that, and your statistics will be right. Okay, because you're just learning. All right. Okay. So now in this diabetes myths, as I said, make this a Likert scale. Now, because I have just taken these 4 questions and I have made this into 1 Likert scale. Okay, meaning 1 construct. You remember how I taught you about items and then I taught you about constructs. All right, so this is 1 construct. So diabetes myths could be say section 3.1, and it could be say 1 construct, And within the construct, I have 4 items. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 things are my items within the diabetes myth construct. Okay. So similarly, you can have, say, one additional construct, which could be, say, on carbohydrate counting. And you can have a third construct, which is on, I don't know, what else do you do? Glycemic index. Okay, you may have taught them about differences between glycemic index and glycemic load, stuff like that. Okay, but again, you know how I said over here, no more than 10 questions. In one construct, to get enough statistical power, I would say have a minimum of 3 items at least, minimum of 3 items. All right. And if you want, it is your choice. You can have only one construct, okay, meaning just say diabetes myth, for example, and you can have, say, a total number of items, which are 8 items. That is up to you. But if you have a few other things which are covered as part of your intervention and you want to test them on that different aspects, then I would say you can have one construct, second construct, and a third construct. All right. You can have a maximum of 3 construct. That is the upper limit which I'm giving you, because it will be difficult for all of your classmates to complete your questionnaire. So no more than 3 construct in your section 3. You are free to have one construct and you can have, say, 8 questions in that. All right. Now, if I say 4 3s are 12, you can have no more than 12 items in all of your constructs combined for section 3. So 4 items for diabetes myth, then 4 items for carbohydrate counting, and 4 items for glycemic index. You can choose to do that when you total the numbers. So 4 3s are 12. So you cannot have more than 12 items in total. Okay. So that will make your questionnaire realistic and practical for your group mates to answer. Otherwise, these questionnaires can become very lengthy and it's not feasible from a learning point of view, because you have a billion other assignments to do as well. Okay. So now, what is very, very important in the Likert scale, guys, at this stage, okay, at this learning stage, try to design your questionnaire wording in such a manner that your participants, before the intervention, where they are not aware about things, they give you answers which are in the lower end of your Likert scale, meaning do not reverse code them at this stage, because if you reverse code them, you need to know how to unreverse them. Okay. And as I said, this unit is not research methodology and statistics. That is something I teach in a different semester. So I can't teach you how to reverse code and de-reverse code and do all of that. Okay. So all I would encourage you to do is, the way you design your say sentences should be such that your participants give you their answers before the questionnaire in the lower end of the Likert scale, which is 1 2 1 2 1 2. And now that after the intervention, they have this newfound knowledge thanks to your amazing intervention, now they give you all of the answers in the higher end of the Likert scale, which is 4 5 4 5 4 5, stuff like that. Okay. This is very, very important, guys. Sometimes you may not even realize that you have reverse coded. So when you design your items, okay, when you are putting in the wordings, try to give answers yourself and see whether all of your answers are coming in the format which I told you. Before the intervention, when the participant doesn't have knowledge and awareness or limited knowledge and awareness, this is what answers they give you. And after the intervention, the answer should be on this side. Okay. If it is like that, meaning you are not fallen into the trap of reverse coding. Right now, reverse coding is a trap for you because you don't know how to de-reverse code them and stuff like that. Whereas in real life, reverse coding is very, very important. It has its significance and its place. But right now, if you're not confident with your epi and your statistics, you can't do this. Okay, so let's keep things very simple. All right, so now so if you look at these items, eating sugar causes diabetes, because your participant before the intervention is not aware. They will say, oh yes, yes, yeah, I have heard you shouldn't have sweet things because you'll get diabetes. Yes, yes, I agree. Diabetes is contagious. Oh yes, my neighbor had diabetes and then his wife also got diabetes. Oh, maybe it's contagious. Yeah, children cannot have diabetes. Yeah, they are so young and healthy. Why would they have diabetes? Maybe they just have a flu and they're just over exaggerating. If you skip a generation, you cannot get diabetes. Yeah, I think that is true because my uncle didn't have diabetes and his uncle didn't have an, oh yes, yeah, yeah. Okay, so I'm just thinking from, a participant point of view, that if you had such an audience, this is how they would answer, meaning everything is falling on one end of things. Okay, and then now that they have your intervention, they have your knowledge, what you have given, so they'll be like, eating sugar causes diabetes. Oh yeah, I know it is not just sugar. There are a lot more complicated factors to it. Diabetes is contagious? Definitely not. Children cannot have diabetes. Then what is type 1 diabetes? If you skip a generation, you cannot get diabetes. There is nothing like that. Okay. So now they know. They know because you taught them. All right. So this is how we are making it simple for you. All right. So lower mean score, lower scores, meaning poor understanding demonstrated by the participant regarding the health issue, which is what you're aiming for pre-intervention. Post-intervention, higher mean score, meaning 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, stuff like that. Better understanding demonstrated by your participant regarding the health issue. All right. Now, how do you do this calculation? I will get into this details when I talk about data analysis, okay, for your questionnaires, not right now. All right. Now, a very important question which I have had in several years is, can we use previously validated questionnaires in making and take them in doing this section 3? Yes, you are free to do that. If they have reverse coding things, make sure you understand and you know how to de-reverse code them. They give you that instructions when you have questionnaires which are published. They show you a scoring pattern. They tell you how to score, which items are reverse coded and how you should be de-reverse coding them. Okay, so go through all of that before you take those validated questionnaire as it is, and you are assessing your participants on that. The second question which I get is, can I modify those questionnaires a bit and then include them over here? You most certainly and you most absolutely can do that. You can take inspiration from validated questionnaires, you can modify them, and you can have them over here. Can you have your own items which you have developed out of your own mind? Yes, you can, but they still should be evidence-based. There should be some evidence in the kind of items you have designed. Don't have stupid items like which I have had. This is just for learning purposes. This is just to, teach you from the very, very basics. So once you get the understanding right, then you can start applying them in more complicated scenarios. Okay. So yes, you can do 3 things over here. You can select validated questionnaires as they are, learn their scoring system. So when you have to do data analysis, you do it appropriately. That is, I would recommend you take that route if you are confident with your data analysis skills, reverse coding skills. Second is a more preferred route in your case, which is modify items from existing questionnaires and then put them in this questionnaire of yours. That is what will make your life simple, because then you can follow all of this which I'm saying, 1 2 1 2 and then 3 4 3 4 and stuff like that. Why? Because it will just make your life easier, okay, at this stage if you're doing this for the very first time. Third, yes, you can have your study developed items. However, they should be something which has a literature backing. All right, that is important. Now, where do your health behavioral models sit in? So do you remember, I think it was lecture 3, if we spoke about theory of planned behavior, and we spoke about trans-theoretical model and social cognitive theory and all of those things. So where do they fit in? This is where they fit in, guys. Okay. So your section 3 is a section which can be heavily ingrained into your health behavioral models. The most common models that you can use in this stage is your health behavioral model, theory of planned behavior. Some of them have used social cognitive theory as well, and very few of them have used trans-theoretical model as well. Few meaning students. The most two easiest one that you can use to at least pass the unit is theory of planned behavior and health behavioral model. So your section 3, yes, it should, your questions should be such that they are inspired from such models. Your section 2 also can be such which are inspired from the two most simple model, which is theory of planned behavior and health behavioral models. Okay. So both section 2 and section 3, it is very highly feasible to make your questions from these behavioral models. All right. So again, as I said, your section 2 and section 3, you can design these questions as your own, but have some evidence behind it, meaning a scholarly reference as to where are you getting such kind of information from. All right. So it doesn't have to be always a validated questionnaire published somewhere. It could be, say, you're taking essence from the narrative review or systematic review, and then you are making questions from that, which is completely fine. Okay, at this stage, that is completely fine. You have a evidence as a backing of where this content is coming from. Okay. In designing your questions, see, you can even have things such as question 1, 2, 4, and 6 are based on theory of planned behavior, perceived susceptibility. To be honest, I really can't remember which are those ones. And then say questions 3 and 5 are based on health behavioral model, the construct being self-efficacy. Okay. So yes, you can have multiple questions, multiple models used in your one section, and your individual questions inspired from different constructs of those models. All right. And the same applies for this. So for instance, you can have, say, I would say that it would be ideal to have one construct which is representing one of your, which is diabetes myth as a construct, representing a construct in your um, models, which is, say, self-esteem model of theory of planned behavior. Okay. So that would be easier for you. Avoid having, say, items 1, 2, and 3 are from theory of planned behavior, self-esteem construct, and item 4 is from social cognitive theory. No, that makes it too complicated, and that doesn't even make it realistic. Just having one item to engage one construct, an entire construct of a model, no. Instead, your 4 items should be representative of one construct from one of the model, which is self-esteem theory of planned behavior. Okay, that is the reference for your diabetes myth construct. That makes sense. All right. And these 4 questions, as I said, you can have a mixture of study developed question, validated questions, and your modified validated questions. Okay, that is at your discretion. And this analysis, I'll tell you later on. Now, section 4, as I said, section 4, section 2, section 3, and section 4. Section 2 and section 3 is going to be part of your pre-questionnaire and post-questionnaire. Section 1, socio-demographic, is only part of your pre-questionnaire. And now section 4, if you choose to have it, those students who have decided to do a mixed method study, a bit of qualitative component, I have told you clearly, you're not really doing a qualitative study. There is much more to qualitative research, but this is just getting a feel of it. Okay. So you can have open-ended questions in section 4, and this can be, say, part of your, and section 4, if you choose to have, this is part of your post questionnaire only, because these are questions on process evaluation, which is You want to see if your participants are satisfied with your intervention and things like that. This can only happen after you have delivered an intervention. So section 4, post questionnaire only. This section is optional for those students who have taken a mixed method approach, who want to who are aiming to get a feel of qualitative research, just a little bit. Okay. Okay, so now how do you have this? So this section, you can have section 4, which is process evaluation. You can have a quantitative component and you can have a open-ended qualitative component. So for instance, regarding the content and presentation style, I have put quantitative things such as, did you understand the content which was presented by the student dietitian? Absolutely, to not at all. Okay, and then your participant selects something. Did you like the presentation style of the student? Confident, clarity, rate of speaking, all of that. So yes, they did. Any other comment is your open-ended part, but you can have additional open-ended questions if you wish to, with regards to, like, the open-ended questions. And how do you integrate this information in your discussion is something which we'll talk about when we talk about your assignment 3. All right, not right now. But I hope you get an idea that you can have process evaluation questions in a quantitative format, and you can have a few of open-ended questions as well. Again, I'm putting a restriction: no more than 3 quantitative questions and no more than 3 qualitative open-ended questions. Okay, if you want to have only quantitative one, it's up to you. If you want to have only qualitative one, it's up to you. Section 4 is at your discretion. Okay, because you're not going to do any stats on this as such, you're just going to do some descriptives. So I don't mind how you develop this, it's up to you. Okay. All right, guys, at the end, this is very, very important. I need the reference source. So section 1, as I said, this much is not enough. This is inaccurate. Why? Because in section 1, I had data from Australian, I had data from National Health Survey 2010 or something, because that was my PhD time. Okay, so I had references for this, and this was, say, question 2, 3, 5, and 8. Okay, I'm just showing you how you can do your referencing for this one. Okay, so this is how you need to say question 2, 3, 5, and 8. They are from so the categories which you had for income, education, occupation, all of that, that is from the National Health Survey 2010. You write the detailed reference. Okay, you don't just write what I have written. And then you can say question 1 to I don't know, 5. They are study developed questions. Study developed question is something like, what is your height and weight? Okay, you couldn't be bothered wherever you take it from. Okay, so those are study developed questions. So that is fine. This is how you do. Similarly, you do for this question 1 to 7 in section 2 is I had basically I have just, like, say, hypothetically written over here, which is from this validated questionnaire. So basically, what am I saying? I took this validated questionnaire as it is, and I have added it into my section 2. You may have modified, so you can say over here, adapted. Very, very important. Okay, so your question 1 and 7, till question 1 to 7, they were adapted from this reference. All of your referencing should be according to the Vancouver style, because that is what DA prefers, the Nutrition and Dietetic Journal. Okay, so to keep things simple and consistent for you. Now section 3, if you see, I have taken this from Theory of Planned Behavior, Normative Norms, question 1 to 4. Okay. So now your question is, do we need to have all questions based upon the health behavioral models and inspired from previous references? As you can see, no. The answer is no. You can have couple of questions which are based upon previously validated questionnaires. That is what I want to see. You can have couple of questions which are based upon health behavioral models, which I had taught you about in lecture 3. All right. You don't need to have sorry, both of these combinations for all of your questions. But remember my one request, which is for section 3, if you are having one construct, your one construct should equate to one construct of your some health behavioral models. Okay, that is important. You can't have in one construct 1, 2, 3 is something else and 4 is something else. Why? Because this construct is really, really tiny. Yes, if you had one construct of 8 questions, that is when you are justified to do this, meaning questions 1 to 4 is based on normative norms theory of planned behavior. Questions 5 to 7 is based upon, say, perceived susceptibility from health behavioral models. That time it is okay for you to do that. Otherwise, no. All right. So this is how you will be having your references. This gives the participants assurance that what you have is scholarly and you are not just, you haven't just designed this question whimsically out of your mind. All right. Some of you had questioned that if you adapt something like this in real life, do you have to validate it? Yes. If you were to modify some original questions, you would definitely be doing a statistical validation to validate those modified or adapted questions. Are you doing that as part of this unit? No, because this is not a statistical unit. Okay. Feel free to adapt questions from original questionnaires. You don't need to modify it. You don't need to statistically validate it. Sorry. Okay, guys, I guess this is all that I wanted to tell you in this tute regarding questions. So now, okay, now when I look at your PowerPoint, and I know you can't see it, but now I have to tell you participant information sheet and consent form, right? So let me share with you that thing, which is participant information sheet and consent form. Okay, so now I'm sharing with you participant information sheet and consent form. Okay, I'm so sorry, I'm not used to taking online lectures as much as I'm used to with face-to-face. So I forget that I'm covering my mouth or I'm scratching somewhere, doing stupid things like that, but please ignore. Okay, so I'll get better with it with time. All right. Okay, guys. So now this is a participant information sheet and consent form that I had developed for the voluntary diabetes program. When I was at Western Sydney University, you have to do this for all of your research, which has ethics approval. So over here, you will have University of Canberra logo. Over here, you will have the name and contact details for one of the student. Okay, not if you are 3 people working in a group, it is going to be the details of the group leader. You don't need to have your real telephone numbers. Okay, you can make up a fake telephone number, or you can not have a telephone number. That is completely fine. You definitely need your email ID, your university email ID. Okay, that is public and that is something which you should be comfortable sharing. Telephone number, you're free not to have it. That's totally fine. Okay, then you have your participant information sheet, title as it is. You have your project title. Over here, you have your professional title, guys. Your professional title meaning the title which has things such as this is the nutrition education session or increasing fruit and vegetable consumption, all of that stuff. Okay. So yes, you need a proper title, which is the title for your assignment 3 manuscript. Okay. You need an abbreviated title, which you have already developed for your ethics. So just copy paste. Project summary, which is you have to roughly tell your participants that you are inviting them to take for them to take part in this study. This study is conducted by University of Canberra. So read what I have written over here. Okay, I can't go line by line through this, but basically you just have to uh, take this idea and put in the words which are related to your study and University of Canberra setting. Okay, it is and paraphrase. Okay, don't just copy paste. All right, but this is a very good working example for you to learn for the very first time. All right, and then what does this project of mine aim to do? The project of mine aims to deliver a nutrition education session where you, meaning the participant, will be learning ABC things. And that's about it. It has to be a short, crisp project summary. Generally, this project summary, as you see, is no more than 100 words. Okay. So I would encourage you to not write essays. Those amazing students of mine who have written essays in assignment 1 part 1, don't write essays. Keep this to 100 words. Okay. Not 200. I said keep this to comma 100 words. Okay. So just 100 words. All right. Then how is the study being paid for? The study, you can say, is a self-funded thing. Okay, so you can say this is a self-funded thing. You don't have to write much about it. For you, it is self-funded thing. I would say that you're fine to delete this off. I'll make your life simple. Okay, so when I make this dark, meaning delete it. You don't need to have it in your participant information sheet. Okay, at this stage. Then what will I be asked to do? This you have to list in terms of bullet point. What are you asking them to do? You are asking them to complete a pre-post questionnaire. You're asking them to listen to your nutrition education session. Maybe you are asking them to complete a Kahoot quiz online activity in between. Maybe you are asking them to participate in a cooking session. If we do have a face-to-face nutrition education session, it all depends. Okay, so that is what you will be writing over here, which is what are you asking them to do. All right, how much of my time will it take? You need to say again bullet points over here. You need to attend, say, a 25 minutes or 20 minutes nutrition education session. Questionnaire will take you about 10 to 15 minutes. So this is how you have to break things down. Or any other activity which you have, Kahoot quiz will only take 5 minutes of your time, stuff like that. If that's like a separate thing, apart from the intervention, if it is all integrated within the intervention of 20 minutes, then it's totally fine. Okay. What benefits will I have or to the broader community? You know how you had written the ethics application session on impact, that this is how it will benefit the community. This is how it will benefit the nation, and you're going to make a change in this world. That kind of thing is what you have to write over here. But remember, all of this is read by a layman person. So you have to make it very, very simplistically. Okay, how is it going to benefit them? Basically, you have to be honest that it may not benefit them directly, but these findings may help to improve, say, lives of, not lives of children, that is ridiculously overstating it. But now my brain is tired because I'm recording back to back. But yes, it will improve healthcare services. It will help in food policy advocacy. It will help to say, provide evidence to improve clinical practice in whatever space you're working, picky eating or SOS feeding practices, all of that. Okay, so it all depends upon what you're doing. Will the study involve any discomfort? You can just say that you just have to do a questionnaire. There are no known risks associated with participation. How do you intend to publish this results? Over here, you have to be very honest that you're going to publish this in form of a manuscript. You're going to do a dissemination seminar. You are not going to go with conferences with this, because this is not, and with manuscript, as I said, not a real life manuscript, but this is just like for an assignment level manuscript. So you have to say that you are going to, write a manuscript. Don't say for an assignment level and all, but say, yes, the data will be published as form of a manuscript in scholarly reputed journals. This will be, be given in form of a dissemination seminar. And the other thing which you can say is that everything will be de-identified, so they don't have to worry about their private information being leaked. No. Then, this is important. Data collection period is 5 years post publication. That is what you're going to keep the data for 5 years post publication. All right. See, de-identified is what I have told you, and it is what I have written. Can I withdraw from the study? They absolutely can withdraw from the study. They are not obliged to participate, but whatever data which they may have provided, that will be used for analytical purposes, for scholarly purposes in a de-identified manner. So all of this goes. Guys, some of these students last year were so lazy that they literally submitted this back to me as their assignment. They didn't even change things such as Western Sydney University. Look, guys, this is something which I have written. I know my style of writing. Paraphrase it. Otherwise, you're going to lose marks very heavily. Okay? And this needs to be part of your assignment 2. All right. So when you give me your pre-post questionnaire, participant information sheet and consent form is something which is part of your pre-questionnaire. It is first read and signed by your participant, and then they go on completing your pre-questionnaire. So these documents I need supplied as part of the uh, Word document which I requested you to provide on Canvas. Participant information sheet, consent form, pre-questionnaire, post-questionnaire, everything in one document. All right. And then your PowerPoint slide as a separate document. Okay. Now, data storage. Yeah, so basically you can take the same idea from here, because that is like relatively same for all universities, that it will be stored for 5 years in a locked cabinet, all of that stuff. So that is fine. You can have it as it is. What if I require further information? Again, the group leader information should be over here, not Professor David Simmons. Okay, so the group leaders information. And then again, the same thing as above, group leaders information over here. What if I have a complaint? The study was approved by, you can over here for your learning, say University of Canberra Human Research Ethics Committee, make up a 4-digit number, all right? 4682 or something like that. Actually, ethics approval numbers, they differ. Some of them have letters, alphabets, stuff like that. Just be consistent and make up something over here, okay? And then principal investigator, add in my name, okay, which is over here, add in my name and my email ID, okay. And this concludes your participant information sheet. All right, so participant information sheet, if you see again, 2 pages, this can't be more than 2 pages. All right, otherwise your participants will not read, it will be too boring for them. Okay, now comes your participant consent form. So again, feel free to have the same kind of thing, just paraphrase it, because you don't really have much changes in this. Okay, so now participant consent form, please change this. Some students were so lazy, they didn't even change the logo last year, okay, which is ridiculous. Obviously, I gave them a 0. All right. Then is this a project, this is a project specific consent form. This all is standard language. So just paraphrase. Your project title should be over here. Then the participant will write their name over here. All right. And then they will be writing these same kind of statements. So just paraphrase them. And then what will they be consenting to? To completing a pre-questionnaire, to completing a post-questionnaire, to attending your intervention, and maybe participating in a recipe cooking demonstration session or something like that. And then yes, no, like this. Then make this just for the purpose of submission to me for assignment purposes on Canvas. Okay, so just make one participant information sheet, consent form in a Word document, submit it on Canvas, and you're finished, you're good to go. Online, you're free to just add name, student ID, and start with your questionnaire. All right, so that will make your life very, very simple. All right, now let's go back to the slides, because I believe I have covered whatever I wanted to. Okay, so I have, now you know the pre-post evaluation questionnaire Word document. I have showed this to you. Section, as I said, section 1, participant characteristics. Section 2 and 3 is where you do the pre-post questionnaire thing. That should be part of both of your questionnaire. Section 4 is process evaluation. That is only post questionnaire, and it is your choice. All right. Then you have, yes, so we covered all these 3 things: questionnaire, participant information sheet, consent form. Remember, participant information sheet, consent form, make it in a Word document, submit it to me on Canvas. That's it. You end over there. And online, just collect name, student ID, and start with your questionnaire directly. Yes, this is what I was telling you about when you are designing your questions for section 2. Remember, it has to be true and false type of answers. All right, only one correct answer per question. And section 3 is in a Likert form. In your Likert form, remember, you need to have such wordings for your questionnaire. I'm not getting the right wording for the wording. You need to articulate your sentences in such a manner that everybody has lower scores pre-questionnaire, and then everybody has higher scores post-questionnaire. How do you calculate mean scores is something which I'll teach you when we talk about analysis. Very important, try not to, if you're not good with statistics, try not to have categorical questions like yes and no and stuff like that in your section 2 and 3, okay, which is where you're doing your key analysis. Why? Because then this will reduce the power of your test statistics, and you'll be doing different kind of test statistics than paired sample t-test. And if you haven't done statistics before, you're not ready for it. Okay, so right now the only thing which you'll be learning is how to do paired sample t-test in SPSS with this small little data, which is one part of your big program planning cycle that you're learning. All right, so now week 7, as I said, you can bring in your doubts for your questionnaire. We can have consultation for that. You can bring in your doubts for your intervention, meaning the actual intervention that you're going to be delivering in your classroom. Then resources like your flyers and your recipe booklets and stuff like that, you can bring in your doubts for that as well. Then yes, class rep, please make consultation times, and all your lecture and your tutorial time is for your consultation. These are going to be online. Do this, so I'll stop share, I'll pause share, and